Hello. So, we're here for another reaction video. This time, it's one I've wanted to make for a little while now. This is for the new One D&D. First, we're gonna watch the video, and then we're gonna take a look inside the book. So, or at least what part of the book they've released as Unearthed Arcana. So, let's get into it, shall we?
Dungeons & Dragons is a thrilling adventure, one we play together as Dungeon Master and players, but also an adventure itself. Now, we stand at the start of a new generation of Dungeons & Dragons,
begun.
and today we're going to introduce some of what's in store for us as we embark on an initiative that we call One D&D.
Growing up, I loved fantasy, but I never saw myself as the hero because I didn't think it was possible for someone who looked like me, who acted like me, who was like me to be that hero.
We want to continue to reach out to folks who are interested in fantasy, who love stories.
So, I'm gonna make a quick comment, since my origins are a little closer to hers. I played D&D from way back in, like, middle school. So, I always felt I could be the hero. And I mean, we were, most of the time. Most of the people I knew wanted to play villains. I'm the only one that wanted to be a positive influence on the world. But, yeah, I always thought I could definitely be the hero. So I'm not sure why she thought she couldn't be included. Especially with some of the Forgotten Realms places, like Karatur. I think it's Karatur. It's been a long time. I think that was 3rd edition is the last time I saw it. It's been a little while. Sorry. But let's keep going.
Storytelling, who enjoy spending time with their friends and creating these collective stories that they can remember for years to come.
D&D's been around for 50 years, and there's very little that persists that long that becomes generational, that people can really just not only share, but literally hand down to their kids. What we want to do is just add to that legacy.
We did a smart thing with 5th edition by listening to the fans. And what came out of that process was a system that is stable, that is well-loved, that incorporates the best elements of earlier editions. Now that we have that, we are no longer in the position where we think of D&D as an edition. It's just D&D.
5th edition is a rule set that has worked for so many people and has brought so many new and exciting folks into the game. It's more...
So, really quick, I'm gonna stop, because I want to go back to what he just said about them not seeing editions anymore. So, the entire reason for editions in most role-playing games is that you want to do a major overhaul. And that was going to require rewriting a lot of the rules. Well, I mean, money sometimes was why they did it, but usually it always came with a big update to the core rules. So, you made a new edition to separate it from the old one. But, yeah, I'm gonna go back to this in a little bit. I know it. But I'll let it go for now.
More important for us to continue to cultivate and respect and love what it is, you know, that the world has told us is working for them.
The sort of change you're going to see isn't about taking anything away from you, isn't about changing any of that stuff that you love. It's much more about giving you more options, giving you more choices you can make, more character types you can play, more magic spells you can cast. Basically, you know, we're very happy with the game the way it is today. We just want to build on that. We're revising the major core rulebooks that every player uses, the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Monster Manual.
One of my focuses, specifically, is the Dungeon Master's Guide. I'm going to make some structural changes to make it more friendly to new DMs.
When it comes to art for D&D, It's about as versatile as our players. We want to show that the person you are can appear in the worlds of Dungeons and Dragons.
That's what 2024 holds, is this promise of getting new versions of the books that are the game you know, but reflect where the game is presently.
One D&D has 3 pillars, and one is the rule set, which is built on the base of 5th edition, but updated.
We're building upon the rules that have been established, the storytelling, and expanding our world and our rule system.
When we say building on top of 5th edition, what we mean is that all the adventures and supplements that have been released in the past 10 years will still be playable with the new evolution of D&D.
Okay, I have to stop there for 1 sec. So, what I think they always should have done is separate the lore from the mechanics. Now, obviously, you might need to update, like, NPCs to different versions. But, the core of what they are doesn't need to change each edition. Just like monsters don't need to change each edition. Usually they did, because they wanted to make a new monsters manual, and the changes to the core mechanics always caused issues with using the old ones. So, yeah. But settings and things, I really felt that those didn't really need to change, per se. And you could just have, like, an entire division that runs lore. And the same thing is true, mostly, for adventures. I mean, that's why they update a lot of old adventures these days. So, yeah. But, let's keep
Then
going.
there's D&D Beyond, which is the base of our digital tools and assists for players and DM. Currently, players are cobbling together all kinds of different apps and websites to have a true integrated D&D experience. What we want to do is actually just provide all the tools that the players need to play themselves in one space.
Right now, with the acquisition of D&D Beyond, we've already started to dip our toe into digital, and it was a fantastic partnership that...
Okay, I have to pause here. So, the problem as I see it is that they chose to buy D&D Beyond. And I can understand why. They were already using the D&D name, so it probably made a lot of sense to them. And specifically, it was always focused on D&D. But I need it to work with things like Roll20, because I know, because I've seen the later part of this video, they have their own idea for how to play online. But for me, I want a choice. I don't want to be forced to use your app. Sorry. I just don't want to have to use it. That way is good for you, but not necessarily for me. So, yeah.
that we have going, but we can add more.
Digital physical bundles is something that we've wanted to do for a long time, and now that D&D Beyond is part of our family, it's finally something we can do. Your content is available anywhere you want it, and you have those physical books, but you've got nice portable versions
I don't
that
need
you can
physical
access
books.
through your phone or through your tablet or through your other device.
Then our future-facing aspect of this is the D&D Digital, which will become a full play space for you to have experiences that
See, this
are
is that
more
part.
immersive. Right now, we're in early development of our digital experience. We can play a game, roll some dice, see the
In
miniatures
fact,
moving around in a
I've
3D
already
play
bought
space. But that's just the
something
core
that
of it.
reminds me a lot of their tool. Here.
We chose the Unreal Engine for several reasons.
Reason number one, make it look dope. That's the first thing.
I mean,
Number
you can
two
afford
is
the
take
Unreal
care of the
license,
lazy DM,
so-
because we're all lazy DMs. Ease of use means being able to access
Hey,
all
I
of the
put a
tools
lot of
that you
hours
need in
into
order
my
to get the
DMing
adventure
or
started.
GMing.
So we use the camera technique called tilt shift. it actually makes things look small. We want to make sure that the experience for you is that you're experiencing a miniature set.
The tilt shift camera was really chosen so that people understood that this wasn't a video game, but it is a digital experience. We want to give people more minis, more options for character customization. You can actually change the features, do what you want with it. And you're going to use this miniature approach to tell stories just like you do in physical tabletop.
To have your character live.
So, here, we're talking about miniatures. I really, really, really want them to get a deal with, like, Hero Forge. You know, or do it themselves, but Hero Forge already has the miniature to digital taken care of. So working with them would be a smart idea. Because the character, I want to see a character. And I'll get back to this because I'm going to mention its most specific competition, I guess. So let's get back.
I'm transported there, but I'm not limited by the digital technology.
We might give you a pre-made campaign from us that has an exciting castle or keep with a dungeon inside of it, exciting NPCs, but then you're going to be able to take this playset, take it apart, and build your own. We're going to have a really robust tool for you to be able to create your own dungeons.
That's
This
what
is
I would
just the
do.
start of One D&D, and we are relying on all of you to help us out and figure out that future together.
What you're going to be able to see starting in August is a steady release of these playtest packages where you'll be able to engage with key aspects of the game, provide us with feedback that then we will digest, process, interpret, analyze, and then act upon.
Really, it's you shaping the next generation of Dungeons and Dragons, and we want to hear exactly what you have to say.
Playtesting starts
I mean,
today.
every
Go to
DM or GM
dbeyond.com,
who,
download.
does homebrew is already doing that. I mean, we do so many other systems that we add on. So, yeah, definitely a thing. But let me bring up the closest competitor. Oh, here it is. Tailspire. It's already doing the same sort of stuff. I haven't used it myself, but it allows importing from Hero Forge. Let's take you to the store page. This is going to be really small unless I maximize it. So, yes, this is what it looks like. It looks a heck of a lot like what they're doing. But this is, I think, in Unity. Yeah, so obviously not the fancy license, but they're a much smaller team. And as soon as this comes out, any, you know, like, how do I want to put it? Any headway they made is probably going to be eroded by there being an official one. So, but yeah, I've had this for a bit. They, I think, only recently added the Hero Forge support. They had unofficial support for a while, but I think they've got official support now, or they're very close. I'm not sure. I haven't kept up. I've wanted to use this for my own campaigns, but I would have to make all the assets from scratch. I mean, as far as like rebuilding maps and things, so it's time consuming. Obviously, the D&D solution that Wizards of the Coast is offering is gonna be right from the module, so a little bit different. But yeah, obviously, that is my one biggest concern, probably. So let's go to the notes. I like how they're talking about power level. Because power level is something that always exists, And it's something that, for my setting, Celestia, the homebrew one I have, it is a pretty high power level. And it was always meant to be. But that means it's going to play a little bit differently than some others. I still hate that they call them races. That's why I call mine now ancestries. And I got away from using backgrounds. I do have professions in there, but yeah, I replace backgrounds with cultural decisions and your heritage, which can be different. Because you can be born a troll and raised as a dwarf. And my system lets you. This, I guess you could make a custom dwarf background, but then what's in that? You already have that bundled into race. So, yeah, that's why I split them up. Starting languages. I have something that I haven't really worked into for starting languages. But in Celestia, something that wasn't ready earlier is that I want intelligence bonus to directly relate to number of languages that you start with. Definitely something I am working on myself. But I guess we'll see what they want to do with that. And having a first level feat is nice. I've sort of done that for a lot in Celestia. You get a lot of feats based on your heritage and your ancestry. So, yeah. That is... And I give you a lot of choices. You're not hard stuck at one choice. That is my problem with a lot of 5th edition, is that anyone who is, say, a I'm forgetting the normal classes. Wow. An Oath of Vengeance Paladin. Whether you're human or a dwarf, you're gonna play a lot like every other, the Oath of Vengeance Paladin. And that's the part I don't like. That's why for Celestia, there's a lot of options built in. What abilities you take are varied. More varied, at least. I just recently added to, the fighter types. So, rangers, barbarians, fighters, and thieves, actually. Ones that don't use magic. They get a choice of combat maneuvers. And that gives them different options during battle. So, yes, we know how to create them. They added ability scores to background. I've considered this, but what I did instead was made it part of Ancestry, mostly because some creatures have a, well, what I wanted to do was split part of it between Ancestry, so you might get +1 Constitution as a dwarf. Or, I don't know, +1 Dex as an elf. Or even +1 Int. But the other part I wanted to be built into your culture. So, my concept was that at each stage, you could get your own +1 bonus to one of your ability scores. For now, it was a little complex to do the math. Not for one character, but for the whole thing. So I scratched that. and made it part of Ancestry still. But I give you a +2 to use in any way you want. So you get a +1 based on your ancestry. Because some ancestries are just better at one area. And this is fantasy ancestries. For humans, there's not as much variety. But all elves are described as being, extra beautiful, extra dexterous. So, yeah, I wanted to have part of it be ancestry still. Maybe it's just me being old. I've been playing D&D a long time. At one point, elves were a class and a race. In fact, the first module for D&D I ever had was an expert module. And it was meant for one elf and a DM to run you through the adventure. I actually was doing a live version of it for a campaign, or I should say a return to the setting. But it never got finished, unfortunately. I had 2 cast members, and one had to go on vacation and never came back. So I eventually stopped it. But sometime I would like to go back and visit the world again. But I kind of got off topic. Feet is part of background, I guess. But I don't know. I think I'm not sure where I would put a unique feat. Where you're choosing it. I definitely think each ancestry or race, however you want to put that, should probably have a special trait, and you can probably pick it from a list. Except dark vision. Everyone's assumed to have dark vision. It's kind of weird, but yeah, you're just kind of expected to have it. Yeah, they do this thing with children of mixed races, and I did this with cross ancestry. So you might be raised in one culture or heritage, or you might be raised in 2. I have that as well. But you can mix and match. You don't get to keep special traits from all your different ancestries, but I think it's a better system than what they're talking about here. Obviously, I made it, so I'm a little biased. So we know about humans. Supernal beings, huh? So Ardlings are my Nephilim, but they're talking about animal heads and features here. Yeah, I have those as Nephilim, but Nephilim are literally any sort of mixture. So if you're a half-elf, you're technically a Nephilim. And I have it set so that you can mix and match traits from your different races. And we just slapped Nephilim on there. But this seems to be making them all one race. I don't really like that. Not at all. Including fixed damage resistance. So the old system had something kind of like them. I forget what they were called. But this seems to want to replace tieflings a little bit as well. I don't know if they have other ones in there, but they're giving them all angelic flights. Ugh, I don't like the idea. I do like my Nephilim system though, which is sort of similar, but I think done a little bit better because it's not assumed to be like a race. You can take Nephilim ancestry, but you get to pick from different features. And of course, they have elves and dwarves. I like that they have tool proficiency for dwarves. I have that as part of Dwarven Heritage in my campaign. So, well, they're Nornan. They're not really dwarves, but they do have that feature. Yeah. Gnomes, halflings. So, Nornans are dwarves, gnomes, and halflings as a single combined race. It just so happens that the dwarven part and the halfling part sort of become mountain Nornans and like hill Normans. Sorry. Because I think they're so close anyways, it didn't really feel like they should be so different. Orcs are included, but not half-orcs. And they did include tieflings, which I guess are supposed to be the opposite of Ardlings. But you already had, Celestials, I think? No. Oh god. I'm totally blanking. I'm so into my setting these days that I forget what their terminology is. But they've had celestial-based equivalent to tieflings for a long time before Ardlings. I don't know. And then, you can build a background. I would probably have that be more like something that comes in a source book. At least that's my feeling. It should be part of... It should be part of the setting. Where you're from, how you were raised. That is where I figure they should come in. I'm still tweaking my ancestry, heritage, culture system. Yeah. I'll get into that more sometime else. But, yeah, I can sort of see a lot of these. I'd give more choices, though. They'll give up tool proficiency, or at least the ones I see, which is kind of nice. I like that idea. Starting languages. Oh, okay. So yeah, Common, which I think is a really bad take on it. I mean, everyone knows Common, but I like... What I did is I made what's called Trade Tongue. And for most conversations, Trade Tongue is fine. But if you want more in-depth knowledge, you have to speak the same language. And one language from background, kind of like that. Usually that is the case in Celestia. I have your heritage choose your first language. Everyone gets Trade Tongue, but then you get one from your heritage. But you might also get one from your culture. In there, you're just given standard languages. And you get to pick one. Which includes Elvish, Dwarvish. Humans, I guess, just don't have one. I guess they're common. Which seems a little silly to me. That's not really how languages work. Language is more a feature of your culture, where you come from. Either you're like, if you're an immigrant somewhere, you're gonna know probably the language where you came from. Or, well, heck, even in a little bit. Like, I wasn't born in Asia, but I do speak a little bit of Japanese, because that's where my mom comes from. She didn't teach me, but I still know at least a little bit of it. And, my native language is obviously English. I hope you can understand that. Talking about parts of a feat, what they are, which we should already know if we're looking at Unearthed Arcana, which are advanced options. I kind of like some of these, yeah. Definitely some interesting things here. A new version of Lucky. Yeah. They talk about what what rolling 20 does. I don't like that a 20 always succeeds and a 1 always fails. A 1 should be the worst result based on your roll. So if you get like a 1, but you get, say, a 12 after your bonuses, then if a 12 is enough to succeed, I would let that succeed. So, it might not be a good hit. I might even give you some sort of penalty. But, I wouldn't have it be a failed hit. It just means it was the worst result you could possibly get at that moment. That doesn't even affect damage. So, yeah, I don't really like that part. We'll get into that more probably in a bit. A 20 doesn't always succeed either in my games. If the target was a 26 and you roll a 24 with a crit, then, I mean, it's the highest possible result for you and the closest to success. But it's not automatically a success. I don't know when I would set a DC to be like 26, but it could happen if I do like a contested roll. I know they don't have contested rolls in their rolls. I like them sometimes though. It's adding in more chance, which I think is sort of the whole point. And I'm not seeing it here, but here it is. Yeah, gaining inspiration. I don't think it should be on rolling a 20. A nat 20 should not give you inspiration. Just not. I can see a 1 giving you inspiration. You fail, you want to pick yourself back up and get back into things. I can see that inspiring you. Getting a 20 might inspire others to reach the level that you just showed, the best possible results, but not you you should not be rewarded for getting a 20. You already did. You got the best possible result you could ever have. Yeah, I want to actually do something with redoing rest. I haven't done it yet. But yeah, I don't like how it just automatically restores you to full HP. I'll talk more about that some other time, though. Interrupting rest. Oh, yeah, they did this whole thing with primal spells now. So I went the other way, which was to unify magic. Magic is all one thing. You all have the same spells, but your source of your power can be different. Celestia wasn't really a great setting for that. They do have universal magic, but they have sort of a war between high magic and low magic. Which low magic is basically half magic. So your paladins, your bards, technically mystics as well. But, well, mystic's my term. Warlock is more their term. But I changed up mystics in my setting. They're actually high magic, but they're a little bit different. So, some example first level spells. I really want to see if they do a new take on Goodberry. The last one kinda was weird, but yeah. I guess that's it. Hopefully that gave you some insight, at least into my take on it. So, I think we'll end there for now. There is, and I'll go show you, a survey now that you can take on the character origins. And I might do that in stream sometime. We'll talk it out. But for now, have fun, take care, and I'll see you later. Bye.